observer fly around and hear me and Taylor talk about nonsense. We do have another semifinal match underway.
Yes, we definitely do. It's going to be in-game versus Rise, and it's going to be a fun one to say the least, right? We saw this matchup between these two in the Pro League, and it didn't go so well for the side of Rise. They ended up losing 2-0 this weekend, and Enzim and Detox will, in fact, drop off. And Rise definitely has to capitalize in this very moment, right? They have to win against Endgame. We've seen them do it in the past whenever it comes to Emergence Day, so we know the potential's there. The slaying potential is 100% in the backlines for Rise, but overall, you've got to put up or shut up in this moment. This is the opportunity. Do you want to reach Grand Finals? Do you not? Rise hasn't done too bad in the past when it comes to Emergence Day, specifically in the previous 4 weeks. They've managed to get a total of 3 total championships. And fun fact for you, Ryan, every time Rise has made it to Grand Finals, all 3 times they've made it to Grand Finals, they've ended up winning. So if Rise makes it to Grand Finals here, maybe we could see a 4th championship for them to tie up reciprocity.
Definitely possible, of course. They need to get through a very tough endgame team. Of course, the endgame team got the better of them last week in Pro League. Let's see if they can bounce back this week. Prior to that, though, Rise Nation did a good job of kind of winning this matchup. They won it a couple times in the Emergence Days. They won it over in Pro League as well. As we get closer and closer to that event, I mean, this is one of the matchups I would love to see on LAN. I would love to see it at the event. Obviously, it would be a ton of trash talk. 2 very, very skilled teams going at it. So far, it looks like Endgame. They have the numbers. They have the point lead. Rise Nation are a little bit pinned to that back line. Mental is a good angle. And the teamwork coming in from Endgame is just so, so strong. Summons being a nuisance. All 5 members do go down from Rise Nation. Endgame kicking off District in the right way. They basically had a lot of struggles on District in the past, and so if they can kind of clean that map up prior to the event, that would be so, so helpful as they make their run and try to get revenge on that San Diego event.
You talked about their map pool and how they had so many auto bans, right? And that definitely spoke volumes. Specifically in the past, you would see, you know, even going to this map here, they've always struggled, it seemed, whenever it comes to District. However, starting off strong, maybe they've cleaned it up a bit. And maybe this is the opportunity for them to capitalize, right? I mean, the stronger your map pool gets, the more of an opportunity you have to win a championship. And I'm very excited to watch this, specifically getting so close to Mexico. I want to see how in-game has improved, because we've seen them and we've watched them play so many times. And it seems as if they just keep improving time and time again every single week. But this initial is so important. A lot of stuns thrown out. Shock, a very deadly roll. He will pay for it. Explosives will drop him. Pick back up, though. Good teamwork overall. 3 players down on the side of Rise. Drix and Avexi's up. And already, we're going to see in-game on all 3 hills. And a big 1v1 here between Praise and Avexi's. Let's see who wins it.
Yeah, they're on all 3 hills right now, so Praise, if anything, is trying to keep Avexi's pinned back to this spot. Rise Nation approaches the A hill, but a 37-second round coming through from
Big difference. Big
Looking
difference.
very, very strong on a map that has been one of their weaker ones in the past. So maybe some signs that they are starting to turn it around. Maybe they are starting to kind of expand that map pool. Again, I'm going to keep being that annoying guy when it comes to that map pool word. If they can get that map like District under control, I mean, we talk about what are the 3 most common maps nowadays, right? District, Asylum, and Training Grounds, right?
Yeah.
If you can get those maps in particular very, very strong, get them in a good place to compete, that could be very helpful. I think we're going to see a lot of those at the event. We see a lot of them week to week. We see them a lot in the Pro League. You got to imagine we'll see them quite a bit at the Major as well.
And not to mention, too, we highlighted earlier how strong in-game was on Vaskar as well. So that opens up another map that they can pick that we don't see too often that other teams might not be as coherent on. So with that being said, in-game, yeah, if they can improve the bread and butter of District, Asylum, and Training Ground, this could be the opportunity to maybe open up for in-game to be back on the pedestal, back in first place. Like I said, they're the final boss, if you will, as the most storied team in Gears 4, looking to make their resurgence in Gears 5. Detox, off a good start in initial. We'll take Solars down, but it's not enough, as in-game still at that push and pull fight. B being messed around with. You got Drix, who's going to be at that location, as well as Summons, and both looking to make a move, but finally it is going to be 2 players down low. It's going to be Avexi's and Drix now trying to place that pressure onto Summons. Summons forced to go on the back pedal, and unfortunately he doesn't get away. That's going to open up the door for Bravo. Let's see if Rise can capitalize.
There's the explosive. 2 Rise Nation members in front of him, going to get tagged up. He does have a player there. Endgame now, we're starting to approach C. I think they know that the BO is going to be a little too difficult. And here comes the push. Explosive gets a nice first shot, and Inzem's there to react. But look at the Wolfpack and coming through from endgame. So many times in Gears 5, those Wolfpacks make the difference. They're on board with Solars. Trying to make his way over there, but just too many members in front.
So we see now, of course, Rise Nation will be capitalizing that moment. We saw Summons, kind of playing around with maybe that 1v2 on A, and that would have been a powerful move to say the least. But here it is. Rise now set up quite well to go on the collapse. So the only thing that they have to worry about is going to be Summons on that flank, who could make some moves here. But of course, the circle is getting tighter and tighter as Rise Nation continues to apply that vice grip on their own home hill, and they successfully are going to retake it. And a good win overall. In-game couple players down on 2 out of 4 lives, going to be Solar and Summons. On the side of Rise, though, they're sitting pretty. Lowest players being that of Shock and Inzem at 3 out of 4. So overall, Rise has been slaying considerably well despite being down 2-0. And a couple more good pushes, a couple more good wipes. In-game could be in some trouble, especially going into the final round of the half.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 rounds that Rise lost were fairly quick rounds, so they never really lost a ton when it came to the respawn economy. So they can continue to kind of get some farming rounds, so to speak, right? Get a lot of these kills. That could be helpful, but endgame are getting a bunch of kills of their own now. You're going to see Mental pushing his way through middle. He has some eyes on Inzem up in juice. Inzem tries his best to use that flash, play some defense. He gets one. Mental hits him with a brick. Finally does go down. Good spacing by Mental as endgame. They have the 2-cap. You see they have the win condition, right? The COG team will win in 41 seconds at the same pace. And if Praise hops on for that break, that would be big. He kind of toys around with it, flirts with the idea of it. The Rise Nation members do get him down, and at some point or another, if you're endgame, you got to wonder, right? You're going to try and hold this double home hill setup for a long time. You're going to try and make your way over to B. So you keep getting these kills. Rise will keep spawning up close to those hills, and so far so good for endgame. They're still holding down C.
Yeah, but here comes the push, though, Ryan. This break is going to be massive for Rise Nation. They know they need to get the break on Charlie. They're pushing in strong. Inzem able to hold his own. Summons from a distance, though. Able to get a couple of nice hits. Unfortunately, he's going to get dropped. Rise able to wipe out in-game. In the meantime, they get Bravo and Charlie. And as the win does take place, it was going to be Praise trying to fight for Bravo, but it was Detox holding his own, and Rise Nation will sneak this round through to bring it up 2-1. And like we mentioned before, in-game, they're hurting a little bit. It was short rounds, right? But in-game committed just a little bit more lives. And because of that now, going into the final round of the half, Rise Nation might have a nice little advantage here overall, as despite, in-game leading the way, a drop shot gets placed. I guess they really do want this fight. They want this initial to go their way.
Very interesting placement coming through from Rise Nation, throwing the drop shot in Cinema after a 1 round.
They didn't have any bad play. I mean, really, they've been in control. They lost the last round, but like you said, it's pretty early to be placing that.
Yeah, no, definitely a very interesting weapon placement. Again, they must be feeling confident at this fight in particular. And of course, for one more round, we will have the hill as close to the power weapon as possible. Obviously, in the second half, that weapon stays there, but the hill moves all the way to their side. And the earliest parts of this round are definitely favoring Rise, maybe showing us why they put that placement down. A lot of initial damage coming through, a couple early kills. Praise, in the meantime, is there to try to weather the storm as much as he can. And the weapon's still in play. No one's gotten the weapon just yet. And look at Taylor. After what looked like a very early Rise Nation advantage, 2 early kills, it is endgame who do come out with the weapon and come out with the initial.
That's incredibly surprising because, like you said, Rise was slaying out. There was no reason why they didn't get that, but Praise doing a good job distancing himself from one of the players trying to hop onto the drop shot, softened him up with the Lancer Fire, eventually got the finish. Endgame secures that drop shot. On top of that, the cherry on top, they get Bravo as well. They get the neutral hill. And now you know that drop shot's going to be a huge nuisance, at least for the foreseeable future. Rise Nation, they're going to have to worry about that, along with worrying about the Lancer Fire from those positions such as Juice. This is going to be a tough position now for Rise to retake over. And in-game, they're just going to continue to stack points.
Yeah, when it comes to the initial on the first half, like I said, it's kind of like training ground sometimes, right? Where you have the weapon over by the neutral hill. When you win that initial, you basically kind of win on 2 different fronts, right? You win the power weapon and you win the objective at the same time. And of course, we know how easy it can be to hold down the objective with that drop shot. Look at Inzem, man, getting right in Mental's face, getting super aggressive and coming out with that fight. Victory Solars tries to approach, but Inzem stays strong, holds his positioning. Now he has a good angle onto the backside of endgame. Of course, that endgame team has built a massive lead through the early stage of this round. And as I explosive. He sees his teammate fall in the kill feed, looks to make a play himself. A big 2v1. Detox tries to finish it off and hits him with an uppercut. That's 2 members now alive. They're on pretty short spawn, so still plenty of time for endgame, obviously with the lead they've built. Let's see what Rise Nation can do. That's going to be the B hill. Now they know in order to win this round, they have to make their way over to C.
Their only win condition, right? They've got to get this break, and it starts off with this fight here between Mental and Detox, and luckily it's going to be a nice win for Detox. That opens up the door for another line of sight, another angle, if you will, to push forward. The man who will give Detox the most trouble seems to be explosive, so he finds another way around it. And Rise Nation choosing to hang back a little bit. And we'll see if that move is going to pay off, because now Endgame is setting up quite well. Endgame knows at this point, hey, all we have to maintain is Charlie, but they also know Mental and Solars are going to be on their last lives. And Rise Nation, if they're aware of this, they're going to start pushing bodies as fast as they can, but time is not in their favor. They still need to get this break. And this is going to be their final opportunity, but if Endgame gets stacks a couple of good kills, that's really going to thwart the plans of Rise Nation. But here it goes, the push happening down low, and it's going to be Praise trying to hold off 2 players. Will he be able to capitalize in this moment, Ryan?
Yeah, it looks like Rise Nation are not able to hop on the hills in time, so some good final defense being played by Endgame. A 3-1 scoreline, looking like a much, much different team than we've seen in past weeks, and we say it all the time. Nothing matters but those final weeks leading up to the event, right? Those final kind of tournaments, those final nights of scrims, and Endgame are starting to, at least early on, looking like they're rounding into form at the right time. They won that matchup over in Pro League, winning that matchup so far. So
we switched over for this?
We'll keep you guys updated as we switch right back over, because Reciprocity
5-1
with a very, very quick 5-1 scoreline on Estrel's map pick.
I'm not going to lie, when producer was like, we're going to switch back over to Reciprocity for Zestra, I'm like, yo, we're going to a tiebreaker round. Switch over to a full wipe and a 5-1 victory for Reciprocity.
Just a casual 35 by Powers in 6 rounds. Business as usual over in the rec camp.
Yeah, Powers is insane. Well, back on to the main event. Endgame versus Rise Nation 3-1. Mental will, in fact, get a quick pick onto the drop. But it's going to be a little bit short-lived as he does get taken out. Enzim now will take the reins. He'll take that drop shot in his favor. And a quick little round, it seems, as a Mental will, in fact, spawn up just in the nick of time, but now he's got to go against a wall of Rise Nation to get this break. Rise Nation actually positioned himself pretty far back. And Endgame will continue to get these touches. Summons waste no time, get a nice chunk, but eventually the Mike Tyson 1-2 punch comes in. He can drop. Drop shot will finish off Praised. Endgame, not a lot they can do. Rise Nation answers back with 3-2.
And if Mental had been able to get that last touch, right, that kind of let the round continue on, and Endgame had come out of that fight, that would have been crazy, because Mental spawned back in, right? They were 5 white. Mental spawned back in before the elimination victory, got the touch, and then Praise even followed up with a kill. So they almost had it, but Rise Nation, of course, had the drop shot and were able to just use that weapon again with that full cap tilt. It's just so hard to get that full break when there's a rocket launcher there waiting for you. And that was a big round for Rise Nation. To me, this is kind of the true swing round, I would say, of the map. If you're Endgame, a chance to kind of extend that lead to a 4-2 and really kind of take a stranglehold of this district map. Meanwhile, if Rise could tie this right back up, I mean, it looked like it was a dominant start from Endgame. If Rise wins this next round and just hits it with a 3-3, kind of the air almost comes out of the room for a bit, and you feel like it's right back at 0-0.
100% Enzim being the aggressor, right? He's pushing straight into Endgame. Mental up top, though, is going to get one knock, but it's not going to be enough, and you do see the trade starting to take place. Kill feed lighting up blue. Enzim, Detox, Shock will drop. Drix and Avexis now on the backpedal. Avexis, he'll get dropped himself. That's going to leave Drix by his lonesome now in a 1v1 against Summons. He'll get double teamed. Enzim will spawn back up, and Drix eventually is going to go down, and now the positioning for Endgame is all over the map. But you notice they didn't cap their home hill, nor did they cap E, and that's pretty common, right? Because you want to commit as much resource as you can to getting that drop shot, but you never know. They could have opened up the opportunity to go for the trip cap, but regardless, though, they're sitting pretty right. They're looking good. They slayed out in the beginning. They secured the drop shot with Solars. I don't think any of the drop shot was used, so that's still going to be 2 rounds for that drop overall for Summons, or excuse me, for Solars, but Rise Nation, it's going to be a tough hill to break. Once again, we're kind of going back a couple of rounds where Endgame, all they have to do is just maintain their positioning. Rise Nation, they've got to get creative.
Absolutely, and kind of the roles being reversed, right? Having that drop shot over the fully capped hill just makes life so much more difficult. You got to basically throw a very good set of utility, a good set of flashbangs. You got to stun that player because he even kind of remotely hits the hill. That thing is blowing up and taking you with it. Right now, endgame, they're taking this, right? They're basically just kind of building a lead up. Here comes that drop shot I just spoke about. It actually shot a little bit short, so Rise Nation was able to get the full break. Of course, not able to get the full cap just yet. It's definitely a good start. At least stops the bleeding, right? It kind of keeps endgame's lead at bay to about 50 or so points. And now it's Rise Nation get back on the offensive. They get that first down they need. I think they know that it'd be a losing fight if they kind of just tried to bum rush this, but it's a good start getting a couple early downs because now their positioning is to change quite a bit.
I've been looking at this battle between players 6 and 4, Enzim and Explosives. I thought that was going to open up the door to maybe push into F, but Endgame did a great job holding their own on that battle for E. And now they gain the positioning that they wanted. They'll be able to force that fight now. It's going to be Enzim, who was in a good position to maybe take that fight to Explosive. He's now got to worry about getting sandwiched in between Explosives as well as Praise. So in the end, I think he's going to be finished off, but Shock might be able to soften up a couple of the players. Enzim still staying up on his own, but for how long? This will be a huge two-piece. He's not going to manage to be able to get it. That pressure is Endgame will be collapsing down onto Rise Nation in mid, but Avexy's holding his own. Last player for Endgame is going to be Explosives on the back pedal. Unfortunately, he can't get the pickup on Shock, but he will get the drop on Explosive.
That's going to give Rise Nation the ability to quickly grab E. Of course, they're still down by so much. They cannot win this round without a play over on F. You're going to see Endgame basically throw all the resources right back to that hill. They need to hold it down for about 20 more seconds. Let's see if Summons can make the play. He does get one down. Able to get the second. A big play coming through by Summons. In the meantime, though, it looks like Rise Nation did get on the home hill. Meanwhile, though, Endgame have thrown their resources over at E. So they just need one more hill for a little while longer. That 2-cap's not going to be enough. And let's see what Rise Nation can do. See if they can get over to that neutral hill. One member is going to approach. Is it going to be enough? It's not. Now the swing round Taylor. We talked about how important it is. Endgame find themselves at map point up 4-2 on Rise's map pick. That would be huge as we head into map 2.
Absolutely would be huge, right? Especially as we push into Exhibit, right? That map that, of course, Endgame is just so incredibly strong on. And this could spell the end of Rise Nation here in semifinals, which I think, yeah, it would be back-to-back weeks that Rise has finished out or finished off in semifinal. I think last week they lost to Reciprocity, I want to say, who ended up beating them 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. So Rise Nation definitely doesn't want the same result as last week. But we'll have to see how it's going to end up. Endgame's done a good job just maintaining composure. Because, you know, some of the, minus the first rounds, which ended up very quickly, Endgame ended up wiping Rise Nation off. But Endgame, in these long rounds, they maintain composure, and they've maintained at least one hill. And that's all they've had to do. So this next initial is going to be a huge turning point for one of these teams. And hopefully it's going to be for Rise. A nice shock. Enzim, he should be able to get this easy pickup. And there he goes. He's finally able to get it. Let's see if he can put it to use.
You see Summons still kind of sitting there, able to dodge the first drop, almost gets the follow-up shot. Looks like Praised is there to save the day. A number of big plays coming through from Praised. This map is going to very quickly equalize the drop shot and put it actually in the Endgame's hands. So a 5v1 on the map of Vexies, the last member alive. Endgame, they're starting to move forward. They have the power weapon. Can they finish the fight over on this F hill? Rise Nation R-Off spawns are going to have a little bit of fresh utility. Let's see, can they stay alive in this map? Because, of course, any other round win, that'll be an Endgame 1-0.
Rise Nation has numbers. Can they put it to use? Forced to back off. Endgame sitting pretty, stacking the points. Can't hop on as of yet, though. Too much chip damage taking place. They keep playing around with it. Finally, the push will take into effect. Drix forced back. He'll get taken out. Enzim will get wiped as well. Drix finally getting finished. The last player is, in fact, going to be Avexy's. He's not going to be able to touch. And the final score is going to be 5-2 for round 1.
What a way to kick off the semifinals for Endgame. And they won this matchup in the Pro League last week. Trying to show a little more dominance early on in this series. And again, I'll say it, that was Rise Nation's map pick. Again,
yeah.
In a map and district that Endgame has struggled in quite a bit. I can't remember the last time I saw them kind of win one of those district maps.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
At least Emergence days. So a big win, again, showing that they're potentially improving on some of those maps that caused them problems in the past. And with the event being a week away, like I said, we all leave in about a week and a half.
Sure.
That's a big victory in my eyes.
Point that out.
100%. It's impressive.
Let's go ahead and finish up this game here between Endgame and Rise Nation. It's on Exhibit. Current score 3-0. Endgame overall map count is leading 1-0, so this is their opportunity to also see their 8th grand final appearance. We'll have a potential rematch between Endgame and Reciprocity. We've seen it so many times throughout so many weeks, and last week it ended with Reciprocity with a 2-0 victory. And this is Endgame's opportunity to maybe come through even stronger this week. And the time is starting to click away. A and B in the hands of Endgame. Avexy's Detox last lives. And everybody kind of sitting pretty well on the side of Endgame. The only person pretty low is going to be Explosives at 1 of 4. You can only imagine Endgame has been slaying out. They've been doing well on their positioning. And we could be seeing them having a flawless first half, Ryan.
Yeah, we haven't been here long, but I can pretty quickly see why we are at this 3-0 scoreline because, man, since we've been in the lobby, it's just been absolute dominance coming through from Endgame. Towards the middle side of the map, the sides, whatever it may be, and now they get to kind of sit pretty and just see where the split push comes into play. Members of Rise Nation have now hopped onto B. Of course, Explosive is there to drill Detox, and Rise Nation basically need to have the win condition of hopping over onto the Endgame home hill. They've arrived, but they're starting to fall, and Explosive going to be that sneaky little player. Oh, by the way, don't forget about me over at the B hill. Which in the end doesn't even matter. They keep the A hill, and man, 4-0 already. Of course, we know how strong Endgame is on this exhibit map.
Oh, yeah.
Outright the best exhibit team in the game. There's no question about it.
But the fact that they're leading 4-0 against teams such as Rise,
yeah,
it's pretty impressive.
I mean, like I said, they won the last Pro League matchup. They struggled against this matchup before that, but I mean, me personally, if I'm a player, coach, whatever, I'd rather win those later matchups versus winning the earlier ones. So
true.
Again, we keep looking at this Endgame team potentially rounding into form at the right time. Looking forward to see if they can close this out. Looking forward to seeing the performance against Reciprocity in the finals. That, to me, is going to be kind of the true measuring stick. Of course, last week's finals were pretty one-sided in Rec's favor, so very, very excited at the possibility of getting that grand finals once again.
100%. We'll definitely have to see if that's going to pan out. We already know Reciprocity secured their spot in grand finals. Will Endgame be able to do the same? Potential final round coming out, or maybe an opportunity for Rise Nation to make a phenomenal reverse sweep, a phenomenal comeback. Anything is possible, and Praised runs right through Avexy's. You notice how confident Endgame is, right? They continually push up into the spawn of Rise Nation. They don't even give them an opportunity to breathe, and despite a shock being placed onto Explosive, he gets away, full red, mind you, and still able to capture E.
Somehow still alive there, and that's one of the things Explosive does best. Explosive is one of the most active players on the map that we've ever seen across any Gears of War title, and see no reason, or sorry, no mystery why he's, you know, whatever it is now, 25-time champion in Gears esports, and he's just making it look easy on all fronts. He's putting that Incend to use, and Endgame now find themselves with a 3 dead over on the Rise side. Of course, we are on long spawns, a great opportunity to potentially move forward and try and finish the fight. See what Rise can do to respond.
Rise has to respawn, and strongly. This is not looking in their favor. It's looking pretty rough, to say the least, as they take a new approach. They're going now up top, and this has been a good opportunity. We've seen a lot more up top fights as this map exhibit has continually developed over the weeks and months. We've been watching, at least this map played out on Gears 5 amongst some of the best in the scene for Emergence days, and Endgame doing a great job answering back. They don't want Rise to make this overextension possible. And you already see them. They're backtracking. They're going over bridge, and a good hold for Endgame. Rise showing respect. As Rise, Ryan, hasn't even been able to get a touch on E in the longest time. The scoreline is 175 and counting. They're about, Endgame is about the apex at 200 mark. It's about to get to the point where Rise Nation is going to have no choice but to go for E, and also the overextension on F. And that's never a position you want to put yourself in.
Absolutely, you're going to see them continue to move forward. They're at the 200-point mark. They're starting to get the kills in the kill feed. All red is Shock. Finds himself the last alive for Rise Nation. You have to imagine this is all but over. Mental even hits that final shot for good measure. What a dominant performance. We were only here for the last 2 rounds, and you can just feel just the pure control of the map that Endgame had. 5-0 to cap it off, and once again, we get a rematch of the grand finals. We get Reciprocity versus Endgame.
I swear, it seems every single Emergence day, or at least every other Emergence